So here's how we took this client's return on ad spend from 2.6x over here all the way up to 27.8x in just a little bit over 2 months. So this is a high ticket funnel, and the average client value ranges from around about $20,000 to $30,000. And high ticket funnels like this can be tricky because you have to be able to acquire a lead on the front end with a good degree of confidence that they are going to turn into a high ticket buyer. Now, offers like this can kick off really, really successfully as you get the low hanging fruit from the marketplace, the people who are ready to buy, very product and solution aware. But then it's very common, in fact, invariably, at some point, these offers start to stagnate and it becomes harder and harder to apply more ad spend. In fact, as you try and scale and apply more ad spend, then everything just falls apart. Your CPA is compromised, and often business owners find themselves in a situation where they're paying more and more and more to acquire a customer, and they're really just working on a very small amount of profit, as was exactly the case right back over here, where they're only getting $2.6 back for every dollar that they spent. So we 10x'd what they were doing in just over 2 months. And I'm going to explain a few things that we did to make that possible. So first thing on the ad side, we started optimizing for an event that was actually deeper down the funnel. So if you think about your events throughout a high ticket funnel, you typically got something like a lead up front and then a submit application. That's when people actually submit an application form to apply to work with you in your business. Then you'll move them through to schedule a call with you. And then finally, you'll get them onto that call and hopefully they actually convert and purchase your high ticket offer. So when launching a new campaign like this, it makes sense to set the bar low for Meta so that you can get plenty of volume into the funnel and it can start to get a feel for the kinds of people who are actually converting throughout the funnel. So set the bar low at first, but there comes a point when this needs to change. When you have enough volume and enough successful purchases and conversions, then you need to switch that up, because as you're acquiring more of the potential buyers in your marketplace, you're saturating the availability of people who are going to convert. So again, at first, you're going to convert all of those low-hanging fruit people who are very easy to access, very easy to convert. But then as you start to scale, you need to get smarter with your strategic media buy. So with this particular campaign, we started to edge along what we were optimizing for, from a lead to an application to a schedule, and then eventually to a purchase. So when Meta has enough evidence for what a purchase, an actual buyer looks like, then you can actually optimize for buyers like that. It's going to way more successfully target people who will actually purchase, as opposed to people who are just going to opt in, knock around, and never actually even get onto a call, or only make it part of the way through your funnel. So a lot of the time with campaigns like this, when they're struggling to scale, is because they're getting too many irrelevant leads through. They're getting a low quality of traffic. So this is one of the very effective things that you can do to increase the quality of the traffic coming through your funnel and optimize for people who are more likely to buy rather than just become a lead or an application. The next thing we did was a lot of creative split testing. So there's two different types of creative split testing that we do. One is iterative. So we take what we already know has worked inside the account and start to iterate based on the winning elements. We're going to take winning elements that we know from ads, from analyzing the drop-off rates in videos, the different hooks, how effectively a piece of creative stops somebody's scroll. We take all of those winning elements and combine them together and then start to iterate on the winners. The second type of creative testing that we do is very sparse creative testing. So as I mentioned about the low-hanging fruit, the people who are most ready to buy, if you view this as your readiness to buy pyramid, then there's a lot more people who are in the consideration phase and all the different phases down the readiness to buy pyramid. So up to date, you'll likely have only been converting the most ready to buy people at the very top of that pyramid. And that is a pyramid, right? It gets bigger the further you go down. So there are much larger swathes of audiences in those lower, less ready to buy audiences. So tapping into these audiences requires copywriting research, understanding where they are in their buyer journey, and identifying hooks, phrases, ideas, the problems, desires, frustrations that are going on in their own minds as they would verbalize it themselves. As soon as you find these, it's like absolute gold dust, because you're going to be able to tap into a much bigger marketplace of potential buyers. Once we find these hooks, angles, and phrases, then we take them into the same iteration process that we did in creative type 1, which is to refine and fine tune and iterate on those winners. And eventually we build up massive momentum as we get more messaging, which resonates with more buyers in the marketplace. Now, what do we do with ad spend? Absolutely nothing. Ad spend stayed at around about 30 grand a week throughout this entire optimization sprint. We didn't adjust ad spend. We merely optimized everything that we were doing so that when we do start to scale, we got plenty of room. We got plenty of ROAS so that we can scale more effectively and extremely profitably. Now on the funnel side, there's a bit of a crossover here, which we've fixed for quite a few clients now, in that we switched the order of the funnel process. So we took the application and moved it in front of the schedule. So as users moved through the funnel, they didn't go straight to schedule. They actually had to apply first. And within the application form, we use conditional logic in order to reroute people who weren't a good fit away from the scheduling calendar and route the people who are a very good fit directly to the sales closers. Now, this sounds simple, but it's really effective for two different reasons. First of all, it's not going to fill up your sales calendars with low quality or spam leads that you have to churn through. That takes a lot of time and effort on your team's part and is very demotivating for your salespeople as well. The other side of that is that if you're firing successful schedule events back into Meta, you're saying, hey, everybody who triggered this pixel event of schedule was a good quality prospect, then that's giving Meta bad information, and your ad account is going to train off and get worse and worse and worse. And you're going to be bringing in way more spam and low quality leads because you're telling Meta, hey, we want more of these people, right? So you have to divert your low quality leads away from those successful events. And the most effective way we found of doing this is with conditional logic, to use decoy questions, which are going to reroute those people away from the scheduling calendar. It's not going to give them an opportunity to schedule, or if it does, it's not going to trigger that event back into Meta. So Meta's not going to continue to optimize for low quality leads. Next was an offer refresh. So we took the exact same offer, exact same pricing, exact same structure, exact same experience, and repositioned the offer on the front end. Now, this is an offer which has been running for years, and therefore it's stagnated. The actual offer itself, not just the ad creative, but we've got offer fatigue. So repositioning that offer slightly actually breathes new life into it for all of those people who are in the consideration phase already, and also opens it up to new types of customers, people who haven't even experienced the offer yet. With this increased ROAS, it allows us to apply more spend and test more audiences and scale that way as well. So again, repositioning the offer itself is hugely beneficial, not just the offer, but to what we can do in the advertising side of things as well. In the pre-call sequence, after people schedule a call, then there was a huge gap. People who booked in, they scheduled a call were falling off a cliff. The next engaging interaction that they had with the brand was pretty much when they got on a call, which could be 2, 3, 4 days later, which means that show up rate was quite low. And also, when people get on the call, they have to be reminded by the sales team exactly what it is they opted in for. Sure, they know what the offer was, but they have to reinstate this excitement and the eagerness that got them to schedule in. That's a lot of work for the sales team. And also, it means that less of these people are going to close. So we implemented some strategies to actually keep them, as soon as they schedule a call, to keep them engaged back and forth, having them take micro actions, micro commitments, and actually starting to do work ahead of the call so that they remained cognizant of what the offer was and how it benefits them. Better qualified, better nurtured leads close way easier and close in higher volumes too. So the bottom line, when bringing a high ticket offer like this one back from the dead, you really can't just focus on one thing. You have to focus on how everything in the funnel works together holistically, from first ad interaction all the way through to a closed sale. And from a business perspective, also their onboarding process, to make sure that they actually stick around, they get results, and they start to refer other people to your business, which is a huge and often under-focused on revenue stream for your business, that referral revenue. But you can't just focus on the ads. You can't just focus on the funnel. You can't just focus on the sales process. You have to look at how everything fits together as an holistic strategy, how all the different elements interact with each other. For example, how the funnel process impacts the ad optimization, as I mentioned in this video. And when you focus on all things as a whole, incredible things can happen. So let me know in the comments what you've done to bring your high ticket funnel back to life, or to optimize it back to a massively increased ROAS, and I'll see you in the next video.